has always been around. It's been around since fucking like Dark Souls 3 at least. Like it's been around all like it's not a big deal. It's the same thing with people who were freaking about Starfield when they had their pronouns thing. Like you can just pick one and move on or not. Like it doesn't take long to have it leave your memory unless you're trying to hang on to it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the anti-wokers cause their own problems. They really do. And anti-wokers are also going downhill really fast. It's kind of crazy. That's why you walk in the gray. Why are you so fucking loud? Jeez.
Good morning. All right, lovely to see y'all here. My name is Carl Bernardo, and I am the creator of the Black Designers Dilemma panel, and I have my illustrious panel here. So I'll introduce them one by one. We have on my left, Gerari D'Souza. I'll let them talk. I'll leave the
How's
the
that?
bio
That
up
too
and
low?
talk about themselves. I think that's a
That
better
good?
way to do it. Yeah, you have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
That's crazy. All right. Hi, I'm Gerard Jesus. I'm here representing the mixed delegation. No, I'm kidding. I am a narrative designer.
Carlton made it to
programmer.
game
I run my own
development?
studio called Coquito Games. I've shipped Star Wars Jedi Survivor,
funny.
worked on Soros at Housemark, Marvel, Strike Force, Madden 20.
I'm sorry.
Done a lot. I'm tired.
I can't like scroll back with the
I'm here
D-pad
representing
for
the
some
mixed
reason.
delegation. No, I'm kidding. I am a narrative designer, programmer. I run my own studio called Coquito Games. I've shipped Star Wars Jedi Survivor, worked on Soros at Housemark, Marvel, Strike Force, Madden 20. I've done a lot. I'm tired.
I feel you, bro.
For y'all.
I'm tired too.
Sorry, got a little issue with the. Go ahead, Go ahead, Pamela. Go ahead. Pamela, go ahead. Talk about your bio.
Okay. Pamela here, senior product manager at PlayStation. I've worked on Apex Legends, The Sims, Call of Duty, some Korean MMORPGs. I can't even remember anymore. But a lot of games. I'm also tired because why Friday I'm at 10 a.m. I don't know. And I'm here, and I'll be authentic as I can be without being sued.
That's how I feel every day.
Kim, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Kim Belair. I'm also surprised that this panel is at 10:30 on Friday. I'm the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., which, contrary to popular belief, is not a DEI company, but a narrative development company.
You hate PlayStation that much?
We do a ton of writing, narrative design, narrative consultation on a ton of different projects, including Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, the recent Afterlove EP.
See, the thing about one of the things about Spider-Man 2 that was really fucking retarded, and you kind of have to blame the consultancy groups for this because they pushed so hard to have I think that's around the time Latinx was a thing. They had to try to put Latinx in there, as well as have Miles Morales' flag be the wrong flag in his bedroom. How are y'all gonna be so up everyone else's ass about like proper representation and get the wrong flag for the nigga's room? Stupid ass.
God of War 2, probably some other things that end in 2. And we continue to have
That too.
Yeah, we've worked on about 100 games so far and continue to do so, based in Montreal and around the world.
All right, and Jabari.
Unfortunately.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here on this early Friday. I'm Jabari Ali. I am the Oakland site director for the Hidden Genius Project, where we train and mentor young black boys in
She wasn't in the
technology and leadership. I'm also the founder of Plus Arcade, where we develop video games and also curate social experiences for gamers.
Everyone sounds so excited.
All right, for some reason my laptop reversed it, so I'm just trying to figure out why I did that. But let's.
You know what this
Carl
fucking
Bernardo,
reminds me of?
It
It reminds me of that one I forget if it was like some political office, some local office, I forget. But they had a whole bunch of people going up for like elected office, and they had the male, woman, and persons of this and that, and then we gotta do this, and we have to do this, and with that, it was like, holy shit, y'all are not organized. I'm not saying this guy isn't, but it's reminding me of that.
Right, and they're director for several different companies. I just work on Dragon Age Veilguard, and I worked
Oh.
on Need for Speed Unbound and Wildflowers, which won Game of the Year, and
Where?
Street Fighter
Give me
6.
your where.
So we'll get started. Um,
Because the game of the year is the one is Jeff Keighley's thing, but there's many other outlets that have their own game of the year awards, right? That's how you get titles like the most awarded game being Elden Ring. But so who gave that game? What is that game, and who gave it the fucking game of the year?
Hold on, I gotta fix my slides. Hold on, I don't
no,
know
it's fine,
why
bro. Go
my
ahead.
slides went. But
I gotta
that's
fucking
a
pack my
disclaimer.
bowl anyway.
That's very important to this panel. So, 1 second.
Until then, briefly enjoy the serenity of the woods.
Yes, I just don't know why it reversed. Can I get a tech assistant?
You said he gave the award to himself. I'm sure he did. I'm sure his fucking publication did if he's affiliated with one.
Up really quickly. Thank you. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Really important. The views, opinions, and side eyes expressed by the panelists in this session are entirely their own and do not reflect those of other employees, former employees, hopeful future employees, or that one company that ghosted them after the third interview. Any similarities to real companies, managers, Slack threads, or team leads who say things
So anything stupid, anything that one of y'all say is directly at y'all and not y'all teams, great.
like "we're like family here" are purely coincidental and or painfully accurate. Panelists are hereby absolved of all responsibility should their comments be used in HR documentation, screen grab for Slack DMs, or whispered
Oh,
about
we
in studio
absolutely
kitchens.
could.
Additionally, the
I have so many
organizers of
good
this
ideas for
panel would like
games.
to clarify that any references, real, implied, imagined, speculative, or sarcastic, to the current political administration's stance on DEI belong firmly on the realm of parody, critique, satire, and deeply cultural concerns. We are not responsible for any federal rollbacks, awkward memos, or sudden disappearance of DEI tabs on company websites. Please direct all complaints to. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't find that link. All right. So this is the way this works.
Why
I
you
give my
laugh like
panelists
that?
Scenarios happen at companies, and they answer their questions honestly. None of my federal rollbacks, awkward memos, or sudden disappearance of DEI tabs on company websites. Please direct all complaints to. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't find that link. All right. So
Yo, that was the smoothest shit if that was on purpose. He said if you have any complaints, you can direct your complaint at oh wait, I can't find that link. All right then. That's hilarious.
Well, this is the way this works. I give my panelists scenarios happen at companies, and they answer their questions honestly. None of my panelists have ever seen the scenarios before they come up, and I'll give my first scenario now. All right, and I open up to anybody
What
on
the
the
hell?
panel. Scenario one, your company just announced major layoffs.
Spamming caps. That was the HR. What the fuck? What do you mean? I missed it. Wait, here. Oh, I see it. Please, I need help. That's funny. Yeah, no, it was the bot. None, like I don't have a moderator. It was just the auto bot. It wasn't anything you did.
And you
I don't
notice
mind that shit. It was the
a
bot.
large percentage of those let go are black and other marginalized employees. HR assures you, everyone, that decisions were purely financial. How do you raise concerns without putting yourself at risk?
It's that last part that gets me, though.
Yeah.
How do you raise concern without putting yourself at risk? Don't be wrong. That's how. You just don't be wrong.
You can't.
You can't.
Just
do
don't
you
be
mean?
wrong.
You cannot raise concerns without putting yourself at risk. HR is not there to benefit you. They're there to protect the C-suite.
So what should you do then in that situation?
I guess it really depends on your priorities, you know. How much money do you have saved to make sure you got rent paid? You know what I'm saying? If you got a nice savings, then, you know, yeah, you should speak up, right? We really need to have each other's back. If you ain't got none of your savings, you might need to hold it in for the moment and, you know, be a little better on on saving that up. But no, in all seriousness, it's a very tricky thing. But really want everybody to know that like HR is actually not there for you. I'm sure plenty.
No, he's absolutely right. HR is not there for you. 100% HR is there for the company. HR is there to pay you off and make you feel better so you don't sue nobody. Because if you sue the company, then they could also get fired themselves. So no, HR is not your friend. They pretend to be your friend, but not really your friend. Unless you work where I work. My HR people are my friends because I know them. But HR in general, like if you work for fucking Kava, HR is not your friend at all.
Many of us have learned that the hard way. Really, the best thing you can do with HR is make sure that things are documented, that
100%.
there's a paper trail, a written record of things happening. But they're gonna look at the company's interests first.
Gotcha.
Kava has no HR? What do you mean? I've got yelled at. Oh yeah, no. Your manager's not HR. If in a place like Kava, HR is never on site. HR is someone you gotta call. That's a number on a wall that you don't know the name of that person. That's who HR is. If you work in an office, then HR is probably somewhere in the office. Like a hospital, HR is probably in a hospital somewhere too. I work at a retirement home, and my HR is right down the hall. I feed her every day.
I want to bounce off that too. You know who is there for you? Your friends. And if you just happen to have friends that work in journalism, I'm not saying, you need to tell them your name, but if they have an anonymous tip under their door, just also make friends with lawyers.
Got you. You know what? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that the question of like, how do you not do it? If you are a black employee and all the black folks are getting laid off, you are already at risk.
Right.
So at this point, I think it really is that strategy. It's do you.
Is that what we're talking about? Black people getting laid off, or we talk about like people without fucking skill getting laid off? 'Cause that's not the same thing.
You go to HR, or do you just hide out for a bit? But yeah, going to HR, I think is. I mean, it's to get it on the record. Like, I don't know what the relationship between the me and HR would have to be for me to go like, I think I'm gonna bring this up instead of just going like, I'm packing my bags and then I'm gonna say, hey, I noticed something crazy about the layoffs.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
got it. I know why. I know what it is. I know what it is. I thought about this earlier. Not earlier, like a week or so ago. I think I was talking to the queen about it. I'm not sure. But the reason why why she's like, I wonder why there's so many other black people getting laid off. I wonder why this. I wonder why that. It's just such a black people at risk. No. It's not black people. It's DI hires. That's who's at risk. And they just happen to be black because you hired them through the DEI process, which makes them, likely less skilled than people who would have been hired outside of the DEI practice. And because they're all apparently black or colored of some kind, you put them at risk by hiring them through that practice. Stupid.
I agree with some of the points, but not all of the points. Like I do agree that HR is not your friend. It's usually like if you complain to HR more times than not, you're the one who's going to be in trouble. But the resources and allies that you can find within the company are the ERGs, because the ERGs usually have some kind of executive that's navigated the situation before and can walk you through maybe what's happening. So like, for example, a lot of times these layoffs happen because of strategic changes. And if you notice, like,
That is
you're
true.
a,
What the fuck?
water
People
polo
stop talking.
company.
Yeah, so some places are very toxic. And there are definitely times where you should go to HR. But the thing is, what the way they're framing it is, you can't complain about things as a black person, or they'll take that as a black person being annoying or a black person going to cause trouble, so we got to get rid of them. That's how they're framing it, and that's completely wrong. If there's something going on between like management or something with a coworker, absolutely go to HR. Because again, they don't want to get sued. You could sue them for whatever happens when you're on shift, right? So it would be best for you to go to HR to resolve that issue. But don't think of them as your friend. Think of them as a resource, which as a human resource. That's exactly what they are, right? That's what they're there for.
And most of the customer service people are let go, and the people like the fabric designers are not. Like
Yeah,
that was a
what
strategic
you mean.
initiative. So the
Fuck.
question I would then start asking within the company is, how do we get more people of color in like the core parts of the business so they're not in these vulnerable positions to be laid off? And it
How? But I swear to God, I wish this fucking back button worked.
preventing them for the future. So like I think
That might be
have
too
some
far back.
kind of executive that's navigated this situation before and can walk you through maybe what's happening. So like for example, a lot of times these layoffs happen because of strategic changes. And if you notice, like if you're a, water polo company and most of the customer service people are let go and the people like the fabric designers are not, like that was a strategic initiative. So the question I would then start asking within the company is, how do we get more people of color in like the core parts of the business so they're not in these vulnerable positions to be laid off?
You hire people of color with fucking skill. Those who are capable will not get laid off, regardless of skin color, regardless of sex, regardless of age. If you're capable of doing the job, you will not get laid off. If you make in the games industry, if you work years and put money and all this time and resources into a game that fucking flops, you're gonna get fired. What are we talking about?
And it's more about like the layoffs happened. You can't do anything about that, but it's more about preventing them for the future. So like I think the consulting industry has great examples of this, where they start having apprentices, work as consultants
people
and
should-
move their
some-
way
yeah,
up, so they
exactly.
actually increase their diversity numbers like
So I was reading the chat.
substantially and sustain it, as opposed to just kind of trying to like plug in people of color in any remedial job that they can find just to look good, as opposed
what it
to
looks
having
like.
meaningful learning and impact.
Gotcha. If it was me, I think what I would do is I would meet with my friends preeminently, and I'll say, okay, tell me all your wins last year, and tell me all the problems you solved for your boss. So everybody have a list of what every problem everybody else like does, because people are fairly selfish, and like there can be like high level like firings. There's also like making my life easier as the boss, right? So like if you can go to people that are above you and say, well, they're gonna fire him, but man, he's the one that always fixes that thing, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that, like so like you make it a selfish.
There is a thing about job security where if you find like find that thing that you're good at and you just keep doing that thing, there's definitely a thing for job security. But the thing is, you don't want that job to be something just as a pain in the ass, because anyone could do a pain in the ass job. Just because they don't want to do it right now doesn't mean you are valuable enough to keep you around. You have to be valuable in more than one area. I am officially a line cook. But I do the line, I do action station, I do Lola's, I do the prep, I do the production line at any given part of the day because I'm fucking capable, right? I'm not losing my job anytime soon. They rely on me way too much. But it's not because I do the annoying shit, because I do annoying shit too, but because I do everything else as well. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of motive for the boss to keep that person around, because there's a selfish initiative for them not to get rid of them, because it makes their life harder. And I found out that people that are in charge always work
way
out
too
of their
many
own
stimulants.
interest of like how their life is easier by these people that work for me versus making their life harder.
As a final aside to that, if you're a coder, this is very easy. You can just take screenshots of your Perforce submits and keep a log of that. So when people like come to you and are doing those evaluations where they decide if you're going to keep your job or not, you can just point to that and send them a list of everything you've done for the company.
Right.
That's
Right,
really
thanks for
smart for coding specifically.
Your ERG is given zero funding this year, but you're still expected to run Black History Month programming. Leadership says, we trust you'll find creative ways. How do you push back?
I don't know how to push back on that because I probably wouldn't. If we have a limited budget, then we have a limited budget. Then we work with what we got. We can't just make money out of nowhere, nor pull money out of a different part of the company just for a Black History Month thing. Right? You can get creative with this. It's really not that difficult. Shit, have a fucking cookout. That'd be Black History Month. Easy.
Be inventive with no budget.
We can do personal stuff
Go
too.
first.
You talk about people being selfish. Do something out of your own pocket. Like I said, invite niggas over to your house. Have a whole cookout. Invite them to a fucking block party. Be real niggerish about it.
That's as close as you can get to asking me to do a little dance, unfortunately. Because I think if you're like, get creative, you'll figure it out. Like, you're kind of asking me and my human body to maybe like do a thing. And I think at that point, I'm going to anticipate that the folks who gave me zero funding,
Nibberish.
I agreed to this.
Gotcha.
And I'm probably going to let it slide. And then I'm going to figure out something with my friends that we can do. And at best, I could always push for like, if we have no budget, maybe we could just take a day off. maybe everybody.
Okay. All right.
Team.
Day off for Black History Month. That's
Don't think they're going to let it happen. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to let it happen. I'm
No,
just probably going
they're
to
not.
not do it.
All
Cute
right.
try though.
What else?
I'm petty, right? So like, I'm gonna have a cookout, and I'm gonna have it sponsored, and I'm gonna have my name on it and not the company's name on it. It's gonna be the Girardi
You gonna throw them out like fucking Jazz from Fresh Prince. Ah!
cookout, not X company.
Detroit Cookout, Black History Month Cookout?
Yeah, because they ain't pay for it.
Across the street? Or like
It's
across campus?
it'll be the
That
collaboration.
is petty. That's real petty.
Yeah.
Didn't
But
that
like,
just say
real
cookout?
talk, if they're not supporting your initiatives, that means they don't actually care about the things you stand for and represent.
Yep.
And at that point, it's actually a much more difficult conversation because I don't want to stay somewhere where I'm not appreciated.
You know what? Let me let you finish that.
And I have been in this scenario, actually.
Really?
Pretty close to it, yeah. And I still did my job, but I didn't do more than they were paying me to do. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
So a company doesn't care about your initiatives, which means they don't care about what you care about and what you represent as an individual. Yeah, that sucks to suck because the company's not here for you. You're here to work for the company. If your perspective and ideals don't align with the company's mission statement, then why are you here? That's a good question. Why are you here in the first place? Go somewhere where you feel more appreciated. Why are you wasting our time and money? Go do that shit somewhere else.
Anybody else? Okay.
Well, I just kind of like, this is just not new for me because it's like I've been volunteering for these type of initiatives before funding wasn't even a thing. So it's just getting back to the heart of what an ERG is. It's about community. It's about building community, and I don't need a budget.
I don't know what that acronym
And if-
means.
Like,
We select money though for it. If you, they're not saying don't give budgets. You're just saying that
Yeah.
you can do it without a budget, but
even
still
if they-
give money.
Even if they remove my budget, I can build community for free. I mean,
Gotcha.
Discord is free. Like doing a little conference room meetup is free. Just randomly pranking my coworkers is free. Like Black History Month prank, that's free.
There are some odd Black History Month choices for you guys. I'm just saying, as an observer, like pranks, days off, cookouts. Like, do y'all do anything educational?
Look, we've got no budget.
We got no budget.
I don't know about you, but a cookout can be very educational. You know how much gossip I learned?
I do
Yeah.
not know how much gossip you learn. I'd like to hear that after the show.
You can learn a lot from a cookout if even if you are black going to a different hood's cookout, you can learn a lot. So just because you a nigga don't mean you know everything, right? And it's like, if you're not, I can't tell you how many times on Vine that you would see Tides. I'm sure you've seen this before, where you have a fucking group of niggas. Like, they bring like this one white friend over to like mom's house for fucking dinner, and he's just fucking zoning out at how good that fucking food is. Bruh, food is a universal language. You can absolutely teach other cultures about black American life and shit through food and through, collard greens. Where did collard greens come from? And they had grandma tell fucking the Asian lady about where collard greens and like why we cook collard greens the way we do and shit with fucking pig's feet and whatnot. Why what the fuck we talking about?
We got tea. That's the whole point of the cookout.
All right. Next one.
Yeah,
Why you not working?
I think about that all the time. Vine was big in what, 2013 to 2016. That's damn near 10 years ago. I feel old as shit. You feel disgusting, but I agree with everything. I know. Like I said pig feet to be real niggerish about it, but I'm not eating no pig's feet. But I have seen ham hocks cooked with collard greens. So ham, pig, whatever. You get my point though.
A new game proposal is rejected because black characters don't sell.
Oh wait. A new game proposal rejected because black characters don't sell. That is. I just made a post on fucking X about Saints Row 2. And how Saints Row 2, first of all, Saints Row 2 is an amazing game and still look back today as one of the greatest games of that era. And it has a black default character, as well as that black default character being showcased in the trailer. And it didn't feel forced at all. It felt completely natural. Even as a teenager, I felt like that was like the coolest thing in the world to have a black default character, right? But nobody fucking cried about it. No one even really acknowledged it, unfortunately, because I think it's a really cool thing. But like this whole black characters don't sell is bullshit. I think 50 Cent's fucking Get Rich or Die Trying game sold. What are we talking about? Fucking Ready to Rumble. What are we talking about? Who the fuck says black characters don't? Telltale's The Walking Dead. Lee's black and Clementine's black. I swear to God.
How do you challenge this?
All right, so when I told the story at the other panel too. I'm gonna tell it again because it keeps coming up.
It is.
When I was in
It is
my
elite
grad
game.
program, I
was
told my
elite
professor I
as
want to
fuck.
make a hip hop game, and my professor looked me dead in the eye. And this old 50-year-old old white man was like, "There's no market for that." Now I run my own company. And I'm making that game, so like, we gonna find out
Hip-hop games.
because
There's
it's gonna
plenty of
happen.
hip-hop games.
If someone says there's no market for that, you get the numbers.
Yeah.
You do the research. You do the work to be like, here's the market. And I had to do this when pitching it to a publisher, right? Like, here's a untapped market. Here's how many people are in that market. Here's how many are likely to convert. And here's the numbers we're going to sell. They can't argue that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, as you may imagine, I've done a lot of looking into this kind of thing because it's something that gets
I can't disagree with
shouted
that.
constantly.
I can't disagree.
At everyone, and I feel like
Would you consider 50 Cent at this point in time an East Coast legend?
it's simply the numbers don't bear it out. It's simply not the case. The amount of kind of like weasel words being used to kind of suggest like, oh, this game didn't sell and we can find some diverse protagonists in it, versus this game really did sell, but it was despite all those other characters, right? There was no win in that kind of rhetoric. So I think
You don't need that's your fucking problem. The answer to your fucking problems is right in your face, but you don't like it because it's not the way you want to win. Did I hear that right? Or am I just high? I shouldn't be. I haven't hit the ball in like 10 minutes. But I didn't hear that right. I know I didn't hear that right.
of looking into this kind of thing because it's something that gets shouted constantly at everyone, and I feel like it's simply the numbers don't bear it out. It's simply not the case. The amount of kind of like weasel words being used to kind of suggest like, oh, this game didn't sell and we can find some diverse protagonists in it, versus
This game didn't sell, and we could find diverse protagonists in it. So a game that didn't sell with diverse protagonists in it, I guess, would be South of Midnight. Would be the most recent example, I suppose, because that game didn't do very well. I don't have the numbers pulled up, but as far as I remember, it was under like 200,000. I'm pretty sure. But there's a colossal failure with Dustborn. That's DEI the fucking game, and that shit sure as hell didn't sell.
This game really did sell, but it was despite all those other characters, right? There was
Yeah, and games can sell. That's what I mean by Saints Row. Saints Row is full of diverse characters. Johnny Gat's the best thing about that game, and he's Asian. How was an Asian guy one of the most one of the niggas in the game is an Asian guy? Is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's married and he's fucking dating a black girl. And then fucking Lynn from the first, like, what are we talking about? There's so many games that have diversity naturally in them that sell well, and because those games are not celebrated for their diversity or didn't win because of that diversity, she doesn't count it as a win for diversity. Like, my head is spinning. I hope I got all that right in one shot, because I don't want to hear that bitch say it again.
there was no win in that kind of rhetoric. So I think that that ultimately you are probably
Sweet Baby's making a Blade game? Is that what you mean by that? Or at least they were. I don't know if they got canceled as well. I mean, if that movie got canceled, I wouldn't be surprised the game got canceled too. Although, if the game did come through, the people who were hyped for the movie will probably flock right to that game.
as Rory says, like you're dealing with somebody who's not looking at the numbers and is coming from a biased place. They probably weren't going to take your game anyway, right? If they're coming to you with black characters don't sell, their research is deeply biased.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's just a dumbass. That's just a dumbass prompt.
Go ahead.
That prompt was made to make me mad.
Well, I'm a firm believer that there are just universal themes in all of storytelling and entertainment that it doesn't matter where you're coming from, you can still relate to. Like I grew up playing Uncharted and all of these like beautiful, robust storytelling narratives from perspectives that I don't even like. I couldn't even imagine relating to, but it didn't matter. Like I could it's all about just making sure it's a human connection. So I think selling the humanity of it and selling like the story and the hook and being able to like attach yourself to a character regardless is
It is very important. The thing is, you can't attach to a character who's written like a piece of shit. You can't attach yourself to a character who is mired in agenda, who's only made to push an agenda. That's not going to connect to anybody but who else, but the fringe minority of people who are already a part of that agenda in the first place. All right. Claire Expedition 33. You cannot make your character. Your character is Gustav. Is him. That's who he is. I have never in my life been more connected to a character, or like synced to a character, than Gustav. And he's a white French guy. I'm a half black Italian guy. I like doesn't matter. Like he's written so well. I can like it doesn't matter his race. He's written well. That's what y'all motherfuckers are missing.
is really important. So I mean that's my challenge there because it's just like you're telling me humanity.
Yeah,
you're
I want to do a
telling
music
me,
stream
like,
tomorrow.
Like emotions, you're telling me like whatever the character is going.
We gotta do the Ravon album. We gotta do Daylight's new shit, and whatever the hell else Ty sends me, because Ty's a music guy. he's a fucking Discord mod, a fucking music guy, a fucking Twitch mod. You know what you are? You're fucking EG, fucking Ty. You're fucking EG.
Through is not going to sell, and usually when you get to like the themes like love or World War II or something or the Roman Empire, then people start talking to like the meat and potatoes of what the story is, and that sells.
It is odd though. Like, look at the things. Look, what are things in Among Us? What are those things? Like, are they
Aliens.
I mean, are they people? Are they robots? Are they
Aliens.
Astronauts.
Well, I know.
Aliens.
I'm saying, but you're supposed to like relate to that, which looks nothing like you've ever seen before. But a black character is a bridge too far. You know.
Well, that's a very specific game where you're not gonna relate to anybody because they're faceless nobodies faces cartoon characters that aren't even remotely realistic in a completely fantasy situation. You're not supposed to relate to characters like that. But a character like Gustav in Cleric, that's a human going through very human situations. Well, on an emotional level and like a thought provoking level. But what he's going through is obviously fantasy. But you see what I'm saying? Like the emotional aspect, the person is there to connect to. There's no person to connect to in Among Us. You goddamn banana.
I think that's what's so hard sometimes because I think I also tend to go for or I think a lot of folks kind of go for that.
I mean, if it's new to me, it's new to me. Like, again, with Saints Row 2, I watched that trailer, and there was a fucking killer song on that trailer I have not heard because I don't watch trailers after I play the game. But I heard it, I'm like, I gotta find this fucking song. It's an Eazy-E song called The Realest Motherfuckers or Real Motherfucking G's. One of those songs. And that's a fucking hard-ass song. I listened to it right before a fucking stream, dog. Listen, that shit is fire. I don't care how old it is. I'll listen to shit again.
That universality argument because it is true, right? It is fundamentally true that like the human problems that we face are multifarious, varied, and we are united in a lot of them.
Hey, me either, but hey.
But
we're here
I
together.
would say that when I think about like an Uncharted, of course I've played a ton of these games and I relate to all of these characters, but I think the tough part when someone says black characters don't sell is that they're often coming from a place of not believing in that shared humanity as an idea, right? They see the universality in a story like Uncharted 2 or any of those games, but then they go like, well, who's this character though? This character, can I relate to that? Right. And so I think it's I fundamentally agree that, yeah, humanity and universality can sell it, but I always so often encounter the reality that the perception of marginalized humanity is not quite the same as everybody else's.
I agree with that.
I don't know what the fuck you even just
Your
said.
supervisor begins to suggest that there is a
Either my brain started to melt or I am actually high because I don't know what the fuck that last part was. So I'm just gonna scroll past that. This is the person who is writing our games, ladies and gentlemen,
new market that needs games look like them.
or consulting.
But they
us.
reflect.
Carl.
Oh, didn't go? Oh, wow, that's weird. It's on my side.
It was a bunch of word
there it is.
salad,
Okay,
a whole
so
bunch of it.
The supervisor
No
begins
Caesar
to
dressing,
suggest
though.
that there is a new market that needs games to look like them, but they reflect individuals with a history of racist or vile behavior.
I mean, we have games like that. There's plenty of time period games that have racist and vile behavior. Your supervisor begins to suggest that there is a new market for the needs of games to look like them, but they reflect individuals with a history of racist or vile behavior. So, everybody. There's no time period. There's no group of people who has not had a fucking very great history, right? So this is a nothing question. If you don't have to look that hard. If you just turn your head to left, you'll see the shit behind everybody's fucking door.
Hell no. What?
Absolutely.
Well,
you know
I think
what? It wasn't a game like centered around it, but in Red Dead 2, there's at least 2 times this happened to me. I think twice in the same game, but at least once per playthrough. When I will come across a fucking KKK cross burning in the middle of the fucking woods, right? And it was a bit shocking at first, but I'm like, should it not be there? No, I don't think so. You could shoot them. I killed all of them, and it was great.
think that this is like a critical point.
Very, very
right?
detailed.
And I just call for all of us. I think that we know, like, especially just given the climate that we're in now, the climate that we've been in for these last few years, like, I'm really just going to even take it there. We have a responsibility working in games. We need to understand how influential these games are, just how influential media is. Everything from TV shows to movies to comic books. But games are even more influential because they're putting someone in that pilot seat. They're taking control. They're taking actions.
I agree.
They're committing to these things, right? And we need to be very careful about the images and the ideas that we allow to go out into the world. So I would deeply ask anybody in this situation to, hell no. Like,
I disagree with that. Just because it may be difficult to watch, and I have my own things that personally I don't want to watch, I don't need to see or hear about when it comes to media. But at the same time, it's like, it's how you do it, right? Just like the example I used. Some people, I'm sure, would lose their shit. I'm sure you could go back in the day and find articles about people losing their shit about finding that, right? But like, it should not be there. It was a part of American history. Was it a terrible part of American history? Absolutely. Is it still a part of it? Yes. So someone who's not born in America or doesn't know a whole lot about American history can learn that this shit happened through the medium of the video game. And at the same time, you can still kill them. You can kill all of them. And you won't, I don't think you even get any bad karma for killing them. Even though they are, then I don't think they can be turned hostile. So most of them run away, but I don't think you get bad karma for killing any one of them. So there's definitely a balance you can have with it. You just don't be like a little bitch about it.
you got to shut it down. You got to find a way to shut it down, because as we allow these things to go out there, that starts to go into people's brains. You got
Yeah. Ty, I think I told you this, like, I say shit all the time, but my grandmother bought me and my brother's GTA 3 for Christmas one year, and when we unwrapped it, we all looked at each other like, oh, don't tell her what she bought us. Don't play it until she leaves, right? It was great.
got a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 9-year-old, whatever.
But the thing is, my dad didn't raise a bunch of fucking idiots, so we were able to separate the video game from reality, right? Especially when we were younger, he would always, when he would see me particularly, because I played more games than anybody else, see me play games like GTA or something incredibly violent or something kind of disturbing like The Evil Within or whatever the hell, he would just kind of pop in and be like, hey, you know this isn't real, right? I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, all right. Easy fucking peasy.
Experiencing these things, and we wonder how a lot of these ideas continue to
I miss
perpetuate.
Blockbuster.
It's because we allow them into these medias, and we allow them into, and I'm not even gonna call no names on certain games, but we already got some of them out there as well. So we got to be hella mindful with these things. Yeah. So we have to shut that down.
Jabari, I'm gonna have to take a different approach to this than you. So, for those of y'all unfamiliar with Latin America, colorism is a real problem, right?
Sorry
And
to
so
hear that.
when I see this question, the first thought that came to mind were like, you know, the Noiso Negro Dominican kind of folk, right? Who are like a marginalized community in their own right, but also racist.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of people who
That's everybody.
I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt to this question. So,
You're not. It's not designed that way. It's not designed to give it that at all. Mhm.
Yes, there is. There's nuance.
Let me finish that.
Go ahead.
But like, there are groups of people who I recognize as like, y'all just don't know better. And there's groups of people who is like, y'all do know better. And there is a thread here of that can be woven into a narrative, probably from a villain's point of view, but I think when they see themselves and the consequences of their actions, there's a powerful point for change as well in games. The first thing that came to mind when I saw this question was Undertale's genocide route, and how awful that feels, how empty that route feels. There's no music in that route. It's just silence, and it feels odd and creepy and eerie, and you feel bad playing it, and that's the
100% agree. 100% agree. You should always have the choice to do bad things, and you choosing not, and then you feel how you feel about them, right? But also still know it's a game. But like, there's things I won't do in games, right? That I would never platinum a game because if a game has a bad karma playthrough, right? I can do some bad things throughout the playthrough. I can't do an entire. I'm not gonna walk around with a slave companion. That's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
A point. So if I were to look at this, get this challenge, I would make this game, but I would make it so that you feel like the scum of the earth for making these choices, and then you understand why it's not the position you want to take.
Exactly. You have to trust your audience. You can't always hold their hand. Much like your child, you can't always coddle your child. At some point, they will be exposed to the world, and if they're not ready to deal with it, they're not gonna deal with it well, right? If you put these decisions in the medium of a video game in a teenager's hands, he can learn right from wrong. He can learn a lot of stuff, a lot of things. I learned so much from playing video games. It's crazy.
Look at you going the high route.
Yes.
This assignment would get me fired.
That's a
I'm
great
like-
route, actually. It's having a high route. That's optimistic.
So for me, like when I heard this, I was thinking about like I think it was in the '60s. There was the rise of the KKK actually,
Dog.
and one of the
Bitch, if you
artists
shut
or
your
animators at the
ass-
time.
I'm sorry, that's kind of rude. Game Boy. I had my first Game Boy was the black and white one, like the OG Game Boy, and then like 2 weeks later, I got the Game Boy Color, and I stole a Game Boy Advance from my friend, and I traded that Game Boy Advance for a Game Boy Advance SP, and my sister had a DS. Yeah, we had a good bit of Nintendo shit back in the day. A good bit of Nintendo shit.
Got a hold of a very secretive KKK manual, and then made a cartoon out of it where Superman is taking down the KKK,
Right.
and like so all these like members of the KKK are like hearing their children, with their Superman.
Yes!
beating up.
I've been an insomniac since I was in a fucking crib. And so there's plenty of times where I will just be up at night wanting to play the game, but I can't because I can't fucking see. And when I got that light with the fucking magnifying glass shit with the fucking like window thing as well, dog, that fucked me up for a while. I was so happy when I got that SP with its own backlight, bro. Holy shit. That was a game changer, literally.
The high wizard of whatever they call themselves. And it's just kind of like, in hearing it within the kid context, really kind of made them feel ashamed in certain ways. So I think I would take the assignment.
Yeah, and then make them feel bad.
But it wouldn't probably not be I would not produce what they expected.
You know what is also a good example of what the guy on the right was talking about? BioShock with the little sisters. You can choose to save them, or you can choose to absorb them into yourself for your own power. But if you choose to absorb them, it's very, very like disturbingly graphic. It's a first-person game, and you're watching yourself like destroy this little girl-looking thing. It could be very psychologically damaging. And be like, oh, that doesn't feel good. Oh, I don't want to do that. But again, it's
be
also
something
a video
different.
game.
But I think that's the beauty of our industry and games. It's an art form, and I am like biased, but one of the highest.
That exact thing, Ty, saved my fucking life because I would be up all night with the TV on like one volume, just watching this shit, trying to go to sleep. And also, I would catch Boomerang too because Scooby-Doo was on there, and I fucking love Scooby-Doo.
Art forms where you can like actually live the life, another life through someone's eyes and make choices as someone. So in that, I would use the art form either to make fun, the high route, or make fun of the people.
Make punching Nazis cool again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But don't call everybody Nazi.
Go for it.
I think there's a lot of interpretations of this question. I think
I'm pretty sure Wolfenstein already did that, didn't they? Wolfenstein made punching Nazis very, very popular.
Looking at it though, to me, this is happening already right
Yes.
now, in the sense that I think I think on that side of the table, the interpretation for me
Facts.
feels
Love Robot
like, yeah, we're
Chicken.
kind of like they are asking for like we like the KKK, like make some characters about it. And I think that is a great direction to go in if there's a sense of self-awareness, or if it's something that, if this supervisor is more asking for a take on it. But I feel like this kind of thing is happening in the way of removal of quote-unquote DEI from games, this idea of wokeness, right?
Yeah,
To say, when they say I need games to look like them, they so often just mean like, we want it to look like the world we want, or the world that we desire, and often that, right now, I think it looks like removing people from the
That sounds like projection. That sounds a lot like projection.
if this supervisor is more asking for a take on it.
If you are asking for a take on it.
But I feel like this
As a
kind of thing is
consultant.
happening in the way of removal of quote-unquote DEI from games.
You want to move DEI from games. Is that you see it as like you kind of jumped a little bit. I'm a little confused. Hold on.
Direction to go in if there's a sense of self-awareness, or if it's something that, if this supervisor is more asking for a take on it. But I feel like this kind of thing is happening in the way of removal of quote-unquote DEI from games, this idea of wokeness, right? To say, when they say I need games to look like them, they so often just mean like, we want it to look like the world we want, or that.
Yeah, isn't that what you're doing? You want more representation of shit in video games and more like black representation because you want the games to look like the world that you want, or the world the world that we desire.
The world that we desire, and often that, right now, I think it looks like removing people from the story, right?
Yeah, removing the people who don't belong. It's not even the people from the games. It's just the shitty writing. Just make a good game. It's not. Don't focus on the race or the representation of the characters. Just make a good game first. Make a good character, then build shit around that. The fuck you talking about?
Removing people and undesirables from that.
It's not difficult.
From that world in order to make games look like them. And I think that ultimately that we're already seeing it, and I think it's really, really about pushing back against it and saying like, no, what are we trying to do? Or if there's an opportunity.
What we're
to
trying to
build, I think
do
that's
is
fantastic,
fix
but
what you fucking broke, lady. What do you mean? Did you guys like? I don't think either one of you would have been given a shit to play Suicide Squad. But have you read the fucking descriptions of the characters in Suicide Squad? Like, Wonder Woman gets this long ass glowing fucking character sheet, but the fucking Green Lantern gets this kind of like blasé thing. The black one from Justice League. And it said something about him like being one of the good ones, being like one of the good cops, because he was a cop before he was Green Lantern. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? Isn't this like a black guy? Don't you want to like prop up black people? Why are we dumping on this man? What are we talking about? He was that nigga though in fucking Justice League. But it's like it's so crazy. I'm like fairly certain either Sweet Baby themselves or someone else worked on fucking Suicide Squad. All this woke shit, but it's like two woke things fought, and the sexism woke thing won, right? Because being a man is apparently worse than being black. I would guess. I don't know. But it's really weird how that happens, and people still want to say, no, we need proper representation. No, you want the representation that you want, not proper, just what you think is proper, which is not, proper.
Whenever I encounter this, it feels so much more subtle as a way of going, well, it's just that, it's kind of unrealistic to have these kinds of characters in it, so we're just going to remove it.
Right.
Being in
that's
America
where,
is a
where
privilege.
this one lands for me. But I am biased in that regard.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure
are.
there's some issues there. All right. Your supervisor suggests tapping into a new market by creating games that cater to an audience whose prominent figures. I think it's the same one we had before, so I'm going to sip this one. Your company announces a shift to merit-based promotions, claiming that DEI efforts have become too political.
Yeah.
However, there are no clear criteria for advancement, and you notice that promotions disproportionately go to those with close ties to upper management. How would you address this?
Okay, here's a question. I would ask this question. Why are they so close to the management? Because I, personally, am very close to my management. You want to know why? Because I'm fucking reliable. Because I do my fucking job and they like me. That's why I'm close to the management. Maybe if you did your job rather than bitching and moaning about fucking not having a budget for Black History Month, you wouldn't be in the position you are now. Hypothetically speaking, in this context.
And we'll leave it the side. We're just going to move on from the side. That's going to be the answer.
Carl, I'm tired.
Yeah,
You're tired?
if anyone knows how to do this,
Like I know it. Like
That's
this
a long-ass
exact
interview,
scenario
goddamn.
exhausts me.
I didn't realize it was that
I've
long.
had this conversation more times than I'd like throughout my career, and every time I have refined.
Depending
my
on the use,
tactics.
yeah.
But whenever someone's like DEI initiatives are failing, I'm like, oh, y'all were promoting based on like that? Because I would have what you think DEI is, because I didn't get promoted. So like, who are you promoting? And now it's merit based. Like DEI wasn't supposed to do that and make it so that people of color and women and other minorities get opportunities that were historically excluded from them.
Yeah, it was supposed to. It was meant to highlight Black people with skill. But that's not really what happened, was it? You hired Black people without skill. You have Black people with the agenda in mind, not Black people with skill per se. You were looking for something specific, and that's why they're all getting fucking fired, because they weren't meant for the position in the first place. And that's your fault, not you, whoever hired them.
When they forget that point, it's gotten to a point where I don't even bring that up anymore because they just don't believe that that's what it is. I just start having to demand what the merits are. Like I need to see what
Show me
merits
your
you're
work.
looking for.
Yeah, there's a word, equity's in the name, right? Equity should mean merit, right? Like,
No.
do they ignore that? Yeah.
You know, media literacy is dead, Carl.
Yeah, I'm so
Equity does
sorry.
not
I'm
mean
sorry.
merit.
I apologize for my ignorance.
Oh, I hope
Jabari,
you do.
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can see it. I can see it. The taste is there. Mm-hmm.
I think what he means by that is, equity is money, right? Merit is your work. If equity and money are the same thing, that means, you would get the equity through the merit. But if you don't have the merit, you won't get the equity. That's what you're missing, right? The people assume that the people who are getting fired are worth being there in the first place, which is not the case.
Everyone is tired.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tricky one.
Ownership and assets. Yeah, right. And then merit would, right, exactly. He's just, they're reaching for it, and then they're not seeing it because they're too focused on the end point, not the shit around it.
I think that
I think you're fucking high.
sometimes we have to understand that things very much, people are the way that they are. Sometimes we don't want to, sometimes it can be dangerous to assume folks are going to act outside of the way they've always been acting. And I've kind of been saying this a lot all the way back to, the awards and, and everything like that. Like, if folks have done a certain thing time after time after time, right? Like what's happening right now in games is very much like an abusive relationship. And we keep expecting folks to do different when they've done the same thing over and over, right? And so I
Like
think
the
we
DEI
really need
stuff.
to like pay attention and learn the lessons.
From the failed games.
and I would add that
Right.
when DEI efforts were
Because,
intact in some way, it wasn't like
People have learned from, Dustborn. I'm sure people learn from Concord, right? And we learn from these games and their failures that the direction that these games were going is not the direction that the greater gaming audience wants. That's why everyone's getting fucking fired. How many more studios have to shut down before these people understand what the fuck is going on?
It was like, oh, there's no racism, right? I think that's it. It's whether or not it's removed, proportions have largely gone disproportionately
take it easy,
to
bro.
friends of upper management, right? That is simply a fact. And I think
Thanks
that
for pulling up.
the push against DEI might give you more words of how to express that. But I think that reality is inescapable. And I think that so many of these kinds of questions end up kind of going like, if you are in a system that is unchanging, kind of grinding people around you, so often you either have to kind of find a way to move your own path through it or exit that system, versus being able to find any way to push back against someone who's like, yeah, I'm going to hire my friends because I don't believe in DEI. Like that's not a mind I can change, I think. And
No, it's not. You're not going to change that mind. You know why? Because their friends have merit. My boss and my friend didn't hire me because I'm just his friend. He hired me because he knows I got skill as well. The fuck you talking about?
and I think we will all get even more tired trying.
That's fair.
Yeah, I want to add one little bit because I think, we got so many people coming into the industry, been in the industry. I think just something about career in general that I think a lot of people know, but I just want to make sure is out there, is a lot of getting jobs, getting promotions, all these things. It's really very much so who you know and the relationships that you have.
That's very true.
It's always been like that. Yeah.
And how do you forge strong relationships in business? By providing quality work.
There's some racial dynamics to it, but it's way deeper than that. It's really about relationships.
That's true.
And so it's like if you want to be in the game, you need to know how to play the game. That's never going to change.
Yeah, and just kind of like reminding, this is something that we forget. I forget this all the time. We're in the game
all the
industry,
time.
but it is a business,
Constantly.
right? And who's like the saying, "Show me the money." You got to show them.
You join it?
You got to show how much money you're bringing into the business. How much.
Dog, my work mom just gave me like a whole sandwich bag of the fucking green, bro. Yeah, dog. Listen, I only started smoking when I was 24. So I cannot wait until I have a cookout and just casually bring my shit, even my disposable shit. I'll still be high as fuck eating some fucking ribs. Listen, I cannot wait for that day, bro.
How much you're worth, and that you're bringing more than whoever. Because when people, regardless if they're your friends or not, if you start messing with people's money, that's when they start disavowing friendships.
Absolutely.
If you.
And when you start messing with people's money, when you start wasting the fucking, how much was 200 million or what, whatever fuck Conquer was? When you waste that much fucking money, you're gonna burn some bridges. You start making some real unhappy friends and investors. People will not trust in you, and they will see the through line. People are only stupid for so long. Patterns can be seen through all of these failures, and you motherfuckers just aren't seeing it.
Start showing hey, I'm unhappy right now.
I feel you.
And I make a quarter of your business, and you're trying to promote your friend.
Do you do
and I'm gonna
edibles?
leave with
Do you
a quarter
drink?
of your business, then people start becoming disloyal to their friends. And and I've been in situations where that still happened, where I proved the numbers.
Indie games
that
have been
showed-
taken over for a while. That's why E33 be making so much noise, because E33 is technically an indie game. Even though it's been really heavily pushed by Microsoft in the marketing, it's still a game made by 30 people.
the receipts, and they still hired their friends. I left, and that business crumbled. And they came back.
Bet.
We had to hire 6 people.
When we
to
get a
replace
big
it."
ass
That's
B&B,
not my problem anymore.
when we get the whole fucking Discord
I
together,
know, right? Why are you talking
we'll have
to
you
me?
drinking. It'd be great.
There's also accidental kind of situations. I mean, they're not being racist or sexist. They just do something that creates a situation. I remember it's about 10 years ago now. one of my friends was talking about how he got promoted. He said, well, the guy who was in charge of me loved to play video games late at night. So we would go over to his hotel room and play video games late at night. And during the conversation, he was like, yeah, you want this job? Blah, 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 blah. He was like, yeah, so I just networked. I was like, yeah, but that disqualifies a lot of people. No female employee is going to a guy's 11 o'clock like hotel room and hanging out every night because they want a job. Like, that makes no
Nigga,
sense.
so?
Like, nobody who has kids.
Nigga, take the job. Who the fuck cares? This is a competition. If someone hands you a fucking job and your friend is giving you an into a job, you take that fucking opportunity. Fuck anybody else. If they were good enough, they'll go through the fucking process and be hired anyway. Jew, my God.
Can do that. Like, there's all these employees that can't
The
access
lack of neck.
like the 11 o'clock happy hour time.
I didn't
to, like,
even
get the
see
promotion.
that.
Like, that makes, like, I understand how it happened, but that's not fair to everybody. Like, that's a
Who the
very
fuck
specific
cares if
kind
it's
of
not
person
fair?
Who can do that in their 20s when they,
You know what's not fucking fair? Applying to through Compass to work at Wells Fargo's fucking head office to be in their fucking catering, and none of them getting back to me about my background check, which means it failed. But they didn't get back to me. That's just not fair. That was terrible. But I didn't fucking bitch about it. I just rolled on. The fuck?
they have nothing else going on, you know, and a certain kind of even gender or
Black Peter Griffin.
safety issue, you know, like there's a lot of things with that. That's
hilarious.
like, oh, I never even conceived that that people could not come to that. You know what I mean?
I have a complex relationship with that particular scenario
Go ahead.
because I believe the first 3 jobs I got in this industry were gotten through connections. Mostly
Just like homie said down there. It's all about the people you know and connections and networking.
through my university.
It's very, very
the
common and
people
not a
I
bad
knew
thing.
Could get me in the door, right? I still believe, and I firmly believe, that they only opened the door and I got the job on my own merit. But it is part, as Jabari was saying, it is part of the game industry game right now, and it's not going away.
Right.
For me, what I learned very quickly early on was when you encounter this scenario, if you're not in the in club, you're not getting in.
Right.
So the best place you can go is out. And I found that I could get promotions much more quickly by going to a different company if they weren't willing to promote me internally. Because I learned AAA companies have bigger budget for hiring than they do for promoting, which is, by the way, the dumbest thing. What do you mean you want to pay an external person more than the person you're already paying to do the job they're already... I'm gonna stop.
Wait, I have to
I've
defend.
triggered a point. I've triggered
Look,
the trauma Jabari's experiencing is not the representative of the whole panel. So you know.
Look, I have to defend a AAA because I'm the AAA representative here, right? So, like, if you want a promotion in AAA, you have to demonstrate business need, right?
Thank
you.
you.
Gotta speak corporation, like, if you're already doing it, that's not a business need. Like, you already have somebody doing it. You have to.
Oh, fucking get him again. That was hard. She said you are not a. She said what she said. Fucking say it again. Go. No, say it again.
Already... I'm gonna stop.
Wait, I have to
I've
defend.
triggered a point. I've triggered
Look,
the trauma Jabari's experiencing is not the representative of the whole panel. So you know.
Look, I have to defend a AAA because I'm the AAA
No, I said, nah, never
representative,
mind.
Right. So, like, if you want a promotion in AAA, you have to demonstrate business need.
Right.
You gotta speak corporation.
Speak the corpos.
If you're already doing it, that's not a business need.
Right.
Like, they already have somebody doing it. You have to like actually pitch and sell that there's like a gap in the company that we need to create a position for, and guess who's most qualified to do that? Pam.
Exactly. It's kind of like what it's a theory of like why buildings keep, breaking down and shit, even though we have like supposed to have the top maintenance crews or whatever, or electricians or whatever, because if they did their job well, they would not have a job anymore. Like website designers. Everyone wants to have the perfect website, right, and a website designer. But if that website designer makes the perfect website, he will no longer have a job, right? So he has to make little things, little holes here and there for them to need him to come back to do more stuff so he can keep having a job, right? He creates a problem that he himself presents himself to fix. You see what I'm saying? That's what's going on in some of these things. That's why she said you're not a business need, because where have you doing it? We don't need you to make a position for yourself, even though you already you know, right? Right. It's crazy.
Pam is most qualified.
Pam's class after this session
all
will
tech,
be
yeah,
available on
absolutely.
Zoom for $1,000 per
A lot of things.
to get your promotion. Okay, next question.
Oh shit,
Your
you
company-
finna die, bro? I'm sorry I drained your battery, bro. But appreciate you sticking around for me this long.
He added a black lead character in the game, and the
Sorry.
portrayal is one-dimensional.
Carl,
And
they didn't shift over again. Yeah.
what's going on? Mm-hmm. All right.
Even the tech knows your bullshit, bro.
It's just making me upset now. Mm-hmm.
The tech knows you're talking
Your
stupid.
company added a black lead character in the game, but their portrayal is one-dimensional and riddled with cliches. When you suggest improvements, you're told just to be grateful. There's representation at all. How do you push it?
You're just trying to make people mad. That first one I fucking got triggered over me. Because I thought this was something that you were actually, like, talking about. But now that those are just random scenarios. Like, who wrote this fucking scenario? This is not a real life situation. Like, even if it is, like, happened to an anecdotal situation, this is not nearly common enough to be up here like this. But let's talk about it. The character is portrayed as one-dimensional and riddled with cliches. I hate when that shit happens. When you suggest improvements, you're told to just be grateful. This is not like 1997. What are we talking about? Just be grateful. I need to know who wrote this and what the fuck they were thinking about when they were making this. Because I can't, even for life of me, in all kinds of media. Who would say just be grateful for having black people in the thing like that? Like, you know, it kind of reminds me of, like, it makes me think of someone, like, pulled this out of Twitter, because Twitter's a fucking bed of chaos, right? Someone just got mad that someone said this, and then just put it up here for everyone to learn from.
For being better without
I'm looking
being
way too far
dismissed.
into this shit.
I'm gonna chime in here, although I know like Gerard's got some gems here, but I think that this is a very straightforward one because there's just
Oh, I hear
already
you.
so many proofs of concept. So, like stale, boring writing and boring characters will hurt your game regardless. Like this
It will.
is not even like a race thing or a
100%.
DEI thing or anything like that. This is just like poor quality
Exactly.
narrative, and there's a lot of examples you can pull
Yep,
where it's been
Dustborn.
done shitty. And games haven't sold well, and when it's been done well and they've sold well. So I would just
Yeah.
lead with the facts and keep it there.
Dustborn, Telltale's The Walking Dead, season
That's it.
1.
Yeah,
Right
no,
on.
100%.
All right. Jawari?
Be grateful. They said they better be grateful I show up to work after that.
Carl be trying to trigger us with these.
These are real scenarios. It's not I'm trying to trigger
Really?
you.
I know.
Really?
The thing
If
is,
I heard that at a workplace, like someone actually said that to me, I would consider that an unsafe workplace at that point and start looking for a new job, and tell them good luck with their flat characters.
yeah, just to add, I did get this, this is
See?
very directly, and for better or for worse, I created Sweet Baby Inc. about it. Because I will not say who I was working for before I founded that. It's findable. But I was brought into a room, shown a cast of 15 characters, of which there were 3 black ones, and I was asked why I had a black agenda and why I was trying to create these things. One of the black characters, by the way, was a white guy. He was just the adoptive parent of a white character that existed, and he was. I think he was said to have been Jamaican or something, and he was white.
Oh, sure.
And so
that's not
I
black
had to
then,
sit in
that's
there and
white,
defend
you
it, and
fucking
it was
banana.
The time that I said, "Oh, I can't do this anymore," and I ended up saying, "I want
know,
to."
If it is her being taught like this, I could see why someone would ask that question. why you having a black agenda? Because I'm not surprised that someone actually asked that, but you being you be flipping shit. I've seen a few of her interviews before, and the way she characterizes things, I don't trust that prompt was done in a way like accurately, or done with all perspectives involved, because for someone like her to be so fucking annoying about the shit that she talks about, yeah, you should be grateful. You should be grateful that you're even in this room still with how fucking annoying you are. I think that's what they meant. Not be grateful that it's black people. Be grateful you're on this fucking project.
Build a company where I can create narratives and tell stories and understand that representation is a form of innovation of character, right? That's exactly it. Like, to represent a character is not to show a picture of them and to be like, here's a token character that vaguely looks like the idea of you, right? It is to create someone who resonates with you on, yes, the level of identity, but also the level of just, humanity and of personhood. And so I think that the biggest problem with this is this idea that that's what representation is, right? Representation is, and I think I'm always saying it is we need to start touting representation as a form of innovation of story, innovation of narrative, and just a betterment of narrative design versus is something that's like, it looks kind of like you though.
Yeah.
A betterment is a matter of perspective. 1,000,000,000% perspective. Because you've seen the narrative games that the narrative influence you have on games are a part of failed fucking games. Like, you're trying to twist representation into people's perspectives, like in the subconscious, right? You want to link inclusion and shit, or representation, to betterment, to progression. But like, it's only progress if it's in the progress of where you want to go. You know what I'm saying? Everything she says is laced from like her lane. You know what I'm saying? If it's not where she wants to go, it's wrong. Like I said before, if it's not a dub it's not a dub for representation if it's not representing it in the way that she wants it to be represented. You see what I'm saying? It's really fucking frustrating. And it's kind of hard to articulate when I'm high.
You know?
Got you.
Yeah, I just would add to that. Like, I agree with everything Kim said, but I would also add examples from the past where people have done out of touch characters and show them how poorly that is.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, next one. In a meeting, a senior executive says we should just focus on talent, not identity.
Yes.
There are a couple of team members that clearly do not fit that criteria, but loved by that senior executive.
Hold on. We should just focus on talent, not identity. Right. There are a couple of team members that clearly do not fit that criteria, but are loved by the senior executive. Focus on talent. I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's people who, well, then that's kind of their problem, right? If the senior executive wants to focus on talent instead of identity, then it doesn't really matter what the other people on the team feel about that, right? If he's a senior executive, what he says goes at the end of the day.
What do you do? You know, they're
Nothing,
boys.
really.
Like, they're like, it's all about talent. It's about merit. But they have some homies.
That's the thing that's always going to happen, because these guys are like, my identity is jokester.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't think
Your
of their
identity is a
identity
fucking
as
clown.
being the same as anybody else's, but they absolutely have all these ideas of identity that they are getting promoted for. So I think that's another one where it's about going, like, just recognizing what this is and learning what to expect from it, and seeing where you're going to be able to either get in on one of those identities or get out.
Gotcha. I think we covered this earlier, so we're going to move on. You suggest using an open source black hair art library that fits your game style, but the team says there's no time. A week later, another team member proposes a new clothing line, an even bigger task, and gets immediate support. How do you address this double standard?
A clothing line, an even bigger task, and gets immediate support. A clothing line for the game, or clothing line in like marketing, like t-shirts and shit. Because I would 100% do marketing, like take the marketing aspect, like do the merch aspect, because you get money off merch. If this is what I think it is, and you're trying to like get hairstyle, like make shit for in the, like build the game up more by itself, that's gonna cost money. Put more money into the game. If you're gonna put money into something that can generate revenue in a different lane, that's a good move to make, even if it is a bigger task. Because at the end of the day, that's more money, right? That's almost guaranteed money. Especially if the game does well, that's more money, even more. Like, come on now, what are we talking about? Priorities, people. What's a priority? Play the fucking dog.
Standard. It's crickets in here. Everybody's quiet. I don't know.
I'm trying to think how to formulate this in an articulate way.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
So buy-in on any idea.
It's not
is
just
critical,
me. Good.
right? If I propose an idea to a team and I haven't,
Yeah, I hope
got
that's what they
buy-in,
meant.
I have no hope of seeing that idea come to fruition.
Because if they are thinking what I was hoping against, and like it's a new clothing line for inside the game, that would be retarded. That would be double stupid. I would then pick more if it's one or the other, and we have time to do one or the other. We probably pick hairstyles over a clothing line, in my opinion. If that's what they're talking about.
A lot of times I will not go to the team with an idea until I've spoken to people individually. Assess what the temperature of the room and the temperature of the team is for that idea, and then I will propose it. This has worked incredibly well for me throughout my career because by the time the idea comes up, everyone's already thought about it, already done their own internal assessment, and I'd like to think I'm persuasive enough that I've sold most of them on it before it ever came up at a contentious point. So when I present the idea in the room and someone then speaks out against it, who maybe I haven't spoken to yet, but I've gotten to most of the room, I already got the support of the room. If this is happening to me, I have already failed my job before getting to this point.
I love that. I think it's great. It's you simply do not find yourself in that situation, because I think it really is just about, that temperature check is so crucial in it to find out if there's even a path forward for your idea. So I think that's very true, and I think that's again, there's an inevitability to it if it's just racism, but I think that's a great answer.
I would add something really quickly. One of the mistakes you make when you're young and you think decisions.
Why is it immediately racism?
Decisions are almost never made in meetings.
Facts.
Decisions are made before meetings, post meeting, the announcements in the meeting, and you're discussing it. But that's for show. Usually, decisions already done before the meeting starts. Either somebody has an agenda to get that done, or they're telling you what they want to do already, and it just wants you to understand and give them okays for what they want to do already. If you argue in meetings too much, they'll fire you.
Yeah.
That's almost true at every company.
That's true.
Absolutely.
So this actually happened to me, so I have actual story.
Okay. All right. Story time.
Story time. All right. This is something that I was trying to get into a game that I will not mention because I can't. But I knew it was going to be shut down, and I knew that
Dustborn?
just because of the business model, it made more sense for the other line to get in. But what I did have was some friends in the company who were equally as passionate and equally as devoted to getting diverse hair into a certain game, and we just stayed after, and we just did a little side project, and we got the hair in the game, and that hair was one of the most successful pieces of that launch, and they got all these accolades, and that's why I got
What
featured.
the fuck
If
are
you
you
guys see
talking
on my
about?
LinkedIn, I was featured.
What game got accolades for hair? I can't imagine any game. I know games that got marred for their fucking hair, like that stupid fucking short dread half shaved swoopy hair shit from the Prince of Persia game. But I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Like accolades for hair. I don't know what you mean.
Featured on Apple for like a diverse, adding diverse hair to a game. But it was just a passion project that we were just so passionate about that like we volunteered. I know about you. Stop. Just stop. Look, okay.
I know what game.
I know what you're gonna say. But sometimes
The rest of us know.
we're passionate. We're in game industry. We're not here for the pay. We're not a fang. You know, we're here for passion, and if you really, really want something, sometimes you just got to do it.
No, that's terrible advice. It may have worked out for you because your fucking uppers may have been fucking spineless, but for if you were to go against your fucking boss like that and use company time and shit to just sneak shit into a game, no, I would fucking fire you. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you not doing your job? Why are you doing this? Why? Get out.
Something in there you want?
Yeah.
Yes,
Don't overwork yourself.
Yeah, I have no idea what that fucking game
Please
is.
don't. But if you do,
People did like to hear from. Personally, I did also like the choices. I think the bald, there was no bald option, so I was kind of upset by that. But at least I don't remember there being a bald option. But the hair was really nice. I liked it, and but I do think I do understand some people saying they were kind of limited when it comes to female options. But I think the black options were fine. They were totally fine, in my opinion. But I don't think they were anything to be like award winning, right? I don't know. I haven't heard accolades for hair in a very long time.
I do want to second what.
But that whole game is beautiful though by itself. Harry, but that Hogwarts Legacy, beautiful fucking game.
Pam is saying, because like if you have an extra hour and you can code and it's already in, like what are they gonna say?
Take it
It's
the
already
fuck
in the game.
out.
Might as well make it look nice.
No, take it the fuck out
Yeah,
and take it out with you with the fucking
I
trash.
take little risks. I break little rules here and there, but
Just make sure you don't you're not staying until like 8 o'clock. Like work.
I think it's like determine the capacity that you have for it, right? What is this worth? Because I think there's
Absolutely fucking nothing. You are risking your job for fucking hair. And most people who fucking okay, what game can you have that has like such a big emphasis on hair that's not an RPG? Because if you have it in an RPG, people are gonna wear hoods and hats and shit. It's not gonna fucking matter. What are you talking about? You're wasting all this fucking time and money and doing all this sneaking around for what? You're risking your job for what? But you don't want to go to HR? Shut up.
the tough part about it is always the slippery slope towards working for free for your own representation, which I think is a dangerous game to start playing. But I also can't deny that in this world people do fight for themselves. So I think it is to each their own, but know your worth and your capacity.
Right. Next scenario. Our team member claims to
Know your worth? Yeah. Be self-aware. Don't think yourself more important than you are. That's very, very dangerous.
understand black culture better than you and repeatedly dismisses your concerns in meetings. They insist their perspective is more authentic while implying you're not really black. You went to Berkeley, as an example. How do you address this challenge while maintaining professionalism?
I'm gonna send him a link to the movie Dear White People. Actually, have y'all seen this? This is a good movie. You should check it out. I say that flippantly, but there's a character in there who has this exact scenario happen to him,
Yep.
right? And he's like, "I'm not black enough. I listen to Mumford and Sons," like an actual line in that film, right? And this is as a mixed person, the thing I have dealt with my whole life. Am I black enough to be in a black space? Am I Latin enough to be in a Latin space, especially not speaking Spanish? As I've grown older, what I've learned is my experience is authentic to me, and my life. It might not be authentic to everyone, but I don't need it to be. I'm gonna say this person is black or black adjacent and give them the benefit of the doubt in this scenario. Because if it was a white person, I'm already like, I'm gonna just clown them.
What the fuck is black adjacent? First of all. Secondly, as I said earlier, I'm half black and half Italian. But I never really had an identity problem. I know I'm so special. But I have had an issue with belonging though. So I can understand that. I've definitely been mocked for my melanin or my light skinnedness. And it hasn't really happened since like maybe middle school, if I'm being completely frank with you. But yeah, I really get questioned. I guess because I know who I am and I can walk how the fuck. Like I was raised black because I was raised by my dad. My parents got divorced, the whole thing. But I can understand what you're saying, but like I personally wouldn't be offended by someone saying I'm not black enough for anything because I know I'm black enough for everything, right? That's you not knowing yourself. Unfortunately, it's a skill issue.
Bro, what? Like, look at you. We're not gonna have that conversation. So I'm assuming there's a person who can at least speak on it from a place of.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was on Homicide when the first time Bible Boy said shit or said nigga, and people lost their fucking minds about it. And like, wait, guys, he's black. You know what? My nephew has the same problem, but because he's a quarter black, he's not half black. He's a quarter black, but he came out like completely white. He do have blonde hair and blue eyes. Crazy. I think so. Unless it might be mixed. No, either way, he's pale as shit. Right. So I'm very curious. Well, my brother doesn't say nigga like that either. So I don't think he'd really pick it up like that. But I'm very curious if he were to allow his son to say nigga. I'd be very, very curious.
Tangential relation.
Rachel Dolezal. Okay, I see. Black adjacent.
And in that case, I'm not gonna try to out-black you, man. Like, you're you, I'm me. We have different perspectives. I'm the writer, though, you're not. So I'm gonna write it the way I know how. And if you think your position is more authentic, that's cool. Talk to me on the sequel.
Oh,
No, you'd say the same thing because you're petty.
you all right, Jabari?
Yeah, I was just reading the question. Yeah, I'm definitely with Gerard on this one, but I think even deeper to just take what he was saying a step further is like, who's the decision maker on this thing? Because I really don't give a shit what you're saying.
That part.
Because if the decision's up to me, I want to do what I want to do, and you can just shut up. And if it's your
Exactly.
decision, then like, all right, why are we even having a conversation?
But it's also the same thing with the fucking hair. Take that same energy and apply it to the hair. I'm the decision maker. Don't you sneak your fucking hair into the goddamn game when if I already said no. It's the same energy. What the fuck?
Because I think like sometimes we frustrate ourselves unnecessarily.
Right.
Right. In these scenarios, like you have certain people who are making the decision, and that's that. And if you want to be the person making the decision, you need to do what you got to do to get in that position, right? But a lot in the back and forth is just unnecessary anyways, right? And really on top of that, a lot of times folks have already made up their mind when they're having these conversations. So like,
Hey Ty, do you meal prep?
trying to change their mind with little quips in here and there is really not going to do anything anyways.
Anybody else? All right, next scenario. Your game team is struggling to write authentic black characters. They turn to you informally for input without offering credit or extra pay. When the game ships... Oh, didn't do it yet. Dang it. Just terrible.
Ain't your day for technology.
No. Your game team is struggling to write authentic black characters, so they turn to you informally for input without offering credit or extra pay. When the game ships, you see your ideas fully implemented, but you're not acknowledged anywhere.
I hate the way that was phrased. They turn to you informally for input without offering credit or extra pay. Why should that be an expectation? If they're turning to you for authenticity on black characters, why would you need to get paid for it? Why is this even here? When the game ships, you'll see your ideas fully implemented, but they're not acknowledged. So the fuck what? You know what you did. You know your impact on the game. They know you did that. What the fuck does it matter if the whole world needs to know that? That's just vanity. Y'all motherfuckers greedy.
Where?
If anyone knows how to solve this one, please let me know.
Yeah, this is a hard one.
Yeah, I do have a good service for it. It's factor 75. I have a fucking coupon code in my fucking bio. I think it's like 50% off your first thing. But you know, as a chef, I do legitimately recommend Factor. Because Factor's been around. I think Factor is the longest lasting of those kind of food things. It's out of HelloFresh. But I think Factor is actually better than HelloFresh, personally. But yeah, if you meal prep, you know, by all means, give it a shot. I know at least 3 people who have used Factor and one who does meal prep herself. Like her whole business is meal prep. So.
This has also happened to me.
Yeah, this has happened. This has happened to me a ton of times.
Yes.
So, on the credits of Madden 20,
All
where I
right.
was-
Stories.
where I was a technical narrative designer, I am listed as additional support because I was a contractor that was terminated early. They did not give me my full credits. I'm still bitter about it, but I do list it on my resume, and I can talk to my experiences on that in other jobs.
Hold
And most
on.
importantly, it taught me a valuable lesson.
Wait. This is not the real Madden. This is Bomb Madden from a company that's BA, not EA. Because we know any similar companies, real or existing, it's not part of the panel. But
What it did teach me is that I will never leave a company without talking to a producer about my credits. If I'm going to be let go the next day, I will immediately contact a development director, a producer, or someone and say, hey, here's my contribution to this project. I know the team who is responsible for writing and crafting, they get really busy. And I genuinely think this kind of thing often doesn't happen out of malice, but forgetfulness. And so I just don't let them forget.
gotcha.
Yeah, I think game accreditation is already a weird and fraught area, but I think that for me, like, it is deeply important to have your name in the credits, but it is also just important to stand up for what you do, because I think that there are times when I will.
I definitely need a
interview
guy
someone
for
on a
this at
project
some
and
point.
Their title is cool to know,
That took
but
way
what I
too
really want to
long.
know is what they did and their understanding of it. So I think I always encourage people who have contributed to a game project to just stand by their work and stand up for it. And while I think, yeah, structurally we have to fight for credit, it's just important for everybody to remember, like, here's what you did and stand by it, and remember that you worked on this and that cannot be taken away from you.
That's exactly what I said. But the thing is, you said it preceding or successing, whatever the fuck, fighting for your credit. Like, and with something like this is what I don't like, right? I just said it, but I'll say it again. It's fucking greedy. If you want to make real change, you don't expect something like that if someone's coming to you with something like this. All right? Otherwise, it just sounds like you're a fucking cheap hoe. In my opinion, you're just kind of like selling fucking racial secrets or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Well, what do you want? Do you want to educate people, or do you want to get paid? Like do you want it? Like, would you rather have this story be told as authentically as possible without your name and credits, or would you rather have an extra like $100,000 and like the thing? Actually, I think I'm doing this backwards. I'm a little twisted up because this whole thing's fucking stupid. The point is, you niggas are greedy. You race hustlers are greedy. It's fucking annoying.
Yeah, I want to jump in here. So I haven't been in this exact scenario, but I've been in a lot of similar scenarios. Um, some have gone left, some have gone right? And so what I've learned is like,
You know what? I was doing that. I was messing with that same that command shit earlier. I was trying to get the command on TTS to work, but yeah, like do exclamation TTS and say something, see if it works. I don't think it works. I think I might have done something wrong, but I'll add that to my notes. I think Factor actually I think it did it on its own. Hold on.
you need
I'm
to stand out,
sufficiently distracted.
right?
Now.
And I know sometimes that can be
Just let it play.
difficult because we all have different levels of social comfortability, but like you need to stand out. In that meeting, when there's moments to raise your hand, you need to flex. When you did a thing and you got a win, you need to flex. You need to make sure that people know what you do, that
Oh, I
you're
can't
great
see
at
no
what
shit.
you do.
My fucking
that
stream's
you
lagging.
saved a
God damn it.
project, that you lifted something up, like,
Oh, well.
and still keep it humble, keep it tactful, but you need to make sure that
Yeah, but like I don't think asking or expecting, demanding, monetary, extras or credits, is being humble about it. To be humble about it, you wouldn't expect anything at all. You wouldn't even ask for anything. But yeah, sure, I'll tell you everything you want to know. I'll sit next to you in the fucking writer's room till dawn to get this shit right without any pay if you want to do this shit genuinely. This asking for money and credit shit, no, you're greedy. Out my face.
everybody knows your contributions and what you're actually bringing to the table.
No one needs to know but you
Yeah,
and
and I know
God,
some of you who
nigga.
are deep introverts may not want to be in the spotlight. I mean, the gaming industry does have an introverts that it does it. Are there any in the industry? But I'm saying that you have to go against your natural tendency to shy back and step forward.
As your fellow extrovert, if you are ever on a project with me and you don't feel comfortable speaking up about what you've done, let me know. I'll hype you up. I will gas the room up for you. I will let them know that this man, this woman, this person is hype. They've done all this. This is why you should respect them.
Yeah, definitely that part. Like, and
But
that's
why do I have
it's
to listen
good
to you,
I'm
though?
not saying you need to be friends with everybody. We should always have a couple people at your place of work who advocate for you, right?
These niggas are not. Whoever is the fucking the fucking tech behind the fucking scenes they're probably DEI hire. They didn't get fucking replaced. God damn, bro.
Like, I've got a couple folks that are like, I'm always talking them up, no matter where I go, whether I'm at a work thing, whether I'm just here or there or whatever. And so you should have some folks that just feel so great about you and what you do that they
Yes.
do that without even thinking about it.
Exactly.
You also have to be that person for other people.
Yes,
In this
absolutely.
scenario, I made sure
Exactly.
that some people's names were in the credit that were not.
Cool.
It's like if people like you, they'll put you in there anyway, right? It's like I said before about having friends. Like in my job, I work at a fucking retirement home, and everyone loves me there because I help out as much as I can and don't complain about shit as much as possible. Of course, everyone needs to vent, but there's people who will do nothing but bitch all day long, right? And there's some people who will just kind of sit and listen. But still,
All right, a coworker with tattoos, colorful
yes,
hair,
me
and casual attire is praised
not
as
me.
creative. But when you wear your natural hair or cultural accessories, you're told to be more professional. How do you challenge this perceived double standard?
When was the last time that happened? There is definitely a whole thing about natural hair in the workplace. But I'm pretty sure that's not really a thing anymore. I've worked in investment firms with girls with braids and nose rings. I don't know what the fuck this is, what era this fucking question came from, but Exactly. I don't know who the
And
fuck.
I hit home too
Surely,
hard
surely
this year.
at this one you have to go, because I think cause you can't go to HR for that one.
No.
If in this, we learned that in the first question. So now I'm just like, I don't know. We might have to leave on that one. Like that's you can't. If we're explaining the hair thing at this point to our supervisors who are telling us please be more professional, I don't know if we're getting out of that one.
I heard this like a couple weeks ago, actually.
Oh no, I'm not saying that it's not
Oh,
happening.
that's
Okay.
I'm saying
fucking
that I don't know if there's a
stupid.
way out
Out of it.
of. I don't know if there's a way
Kicked
to convince
out for-
that
for
person
having
because
dreads?
you can bring up like the amount of literature that we now have, the amount of
I
access
fucking hate that
to
shit,
information,
bro.
the amount of stuff that is there. If you're still on this line, I don't know if you can be fought with facts. Is the
Gotcha.
thing.
Oh, but it can be fought with community support.
Yes.
There's excellent literature and Slack channels, and people can read. So, you know, for no reason at all, I happened to find this really fascinating article on how professionalism is a construct of white supremacy. People should maybe read it. It's good.
Can we
Informative
not-
for our culture and our project?
I would love to
that we're
never
working
hear
on.
about that
Trust
book
me, Just take a
again.
look.
No,
Like,
I will
Carl,
not.
you have not got me to quit a place yet.
I'm supposed to get you to do it. I'm confused with this.
These scenarios
Oh, sorry. Mhm.
not got me to quit a place, but you might get me fired at one of these places.
That's true.
I think
You know, I really want to know how successful these kind of books are.
Professionalism is a construct of white supremacy.
First of all, that was an amazing fucking pullback. That was absolutely perfect. Secondly, professionalism is a construct of white supremacy. I heard that before. I forget. I heard that years ago. Who the fuck said that to me? 'Cause that's stupid as fuck. I don't think so. Professionalism is not a product of white supremacy. It's just perceived that way because white people are professional. And black people are seen as unprofessional. That's why. Or, well, in their eyes, that's how they're framing it. But that's not even remotely close to being true.
People should maybe read it. It's good, informative for our culture and our project that we're working on. Trust me. Just take a look.
like Carl, you have not got me to quit a place yet.
I'm supposed to get you to do it. I'm confused with this.
These scenarios
Oh, sorry. Mhm.
not got me to quit a place, but you might get me fired at one of these places.
That's true.
I think I had a similar situation where a manager told me I was unprofessional because I didn't do my nails. Like I didn't come into the office with my nails done every day.
Some people are
And
more strict than others.
I just ignored them, to be honest.
It
which
really
is
depends on where you
not-
work, especially these days. Not even like work from home. It really just depends on where you work. Because like I said, the investment firm I worked at, girl with fucking dreads and jewelry and all that shit, right? But I was applying to places for a marketing job, and they had no such like casual Friday type shit. It was always like suit, pants, shirt and tie. That was the dress code. Some places have dress codes, some places don't. I mean, that's not racist. It's just how they decide to run their business.
I mean, I wouldn't follow that advice, but it's just kind of like if you're put in a situation like that, it's just really important to take a moment and reassess
And do your
who you
fucking
are and
nails.
what you need out of this particular job. Yes. For me, at that time, I just needed the experience. I just needed to last, a certain amount of time so that I had it on my resume, so that I can move on to the next job, and that's exactly what I did.
I got a job. Me and my friend got the job the exact same
I fucking love laid back dress
day,
codes.
and we came in. I would come in at 7:30. He came in at 7.
You wanna know why? Because I always dress well. So if everyone is like dressed like semi-casually, I'll always look better than everybody else. By accident too. I don't even mean to most of the time.
He came in at 6:45 every day, and our supervisor would always be like, "Man, he's so early. It's just so great. He leaves late. It's so great." And I was like, he's getting credit because he has 4 kids. And he doesn't want to stay in the house when they wake up. Like, he's leaving early, not because he wants to be at work on time. He's leaving because he doesn't want to be in the house when his kids wake up. Like, it's a very specific avoidance strategy of his family. It's not because he likes work more than me. And, like, it was just so funny because he got promoted based on the fact that he got to work early and left later. But it was family avoidance and nothing to do with him.
First of all, you're putting a man's business out there for no reason. Secondly, the core of that reason does matter. That is true. At the same time, is he still performing either at or above expectations? If he's getting recognized for coming in early, he doesn't have to come in early. If he's avoiding his family, he could just sit in the fucking parking lot until the minute before he has to clock in. But if he's actually coming in early, what doesn't matter why he's there early? He's there and he's working hard and he's doing his shit. That's what should matter, not why per se. That's taking it to like a petty degree, needlessly petty.
And being a better employee.
I will say there's a line of argument I've come across in this that is very difficult for people to argue, which is like, in my culture or where I'm from, this is considered professional. What are they going to tell you to that?
Right.
It disarms the argument immediately, and if they keep it up, that's your cue to leave.
Yeah, no, that means that you are not professional enough to work here. Or you're not dressed professional enough to work here. That's it. It doesn't matter where you came from. Here is where you are now. You're not there anymore. You're here now. Dress like the team or get out. Easy peasy.
Gotcha. All right. Let's move on. We got like three more. A manager says they're hesitant to hire black candidates because they might not fit the studio culture. When you push back, they insist that they just want to hire people who will blend in.
You got to ask how you got hired. Because that's got to be the first question. It's like, well, what am I doing here?
Well, you're a special black person. You're not like the others.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So
You're so articulate. You're so articulate.
She's definitely
You
special.
speak so well.
That's for damn sure.
I'm just so impressed with your background and your knowledge. You went to Cornell.
gotta go.
First of all, stop laughing like that. First of all. And I gotta pull this shit back because it fucking distracted me.
Because that's got to be the first question. It's like, well, what am I doing here?
Well, you're a special black person. You're not like the others.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't. Who still says this stuff? I remember hearing this shit back in elementary school. Who still talks like this? Old ass white people? Is that who we're still complaining about?
So
You're so articulate. You're so articulate. You speak so well.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
I'm just so
And you know why I probably heard that? Probably not because they were racist, because I was young at the time. I said elementary school. What the fuck? I was always like a bit like, you know, older than the kids around me. Like when I spoke, I watched older shit. It's crazy.
impressed with your
I was
background
like,
and your
my brain was
knowledge.
like developed
You
a
went
little
to
bit faster, but I
Cornell.
still couldn't read.
Gotta go. So, no, I can't. Too many of these are leave. I gotta get out of here.
All right, I'm gonna move on. All right, your team hesitates to add black characters or doves to public-facing projects because they
Doves?
fear gamer backlash or review bombing. Leadership asks if it's really worth the
South of
risk.
Midnight?
Gotta go.
Okay, I was a little too far back.
So, no, I can't. Too many of these are leave.
Doves
I
and
gotta
a
get
black
out
lady
of
was a
here.
South of Midnight
All right, I'm
cover.
gonna move on. All right, your team hesitates to add black characters or doves to public-facing projects because they fear gamer backlash or review bombing. Leadership asks if it's really worth the risk. How do you advocate for inclusion when fear of racist pushback is controlling decisions?
Ignore them. If South of Midnight is the example, ignore them. South of Midnight deserves to exist as it is.
At this point, all I do is exist in this scenario. I think that I mean for one thing, in terms of like the real numbers of this, we are constantly reminded that a lot of this is a vocal minority, right? In terms
It
of
is a
the,
very
the
vocal
vast
minority. I
majority
agree
of,
with you
of,
for once.
of game purchases. When you look at like how many
Or
games are
of
sold
people,
versus
sorry, I
what
should let
kind
you
of
finish that.
Gamergate stuff kind of pops up, it's not like it's like a one for one thing. And I think that the thing that I always say, it's like if you're going to try to pull off a heist positive, there's going to be cops, right? People are going to try to stop you. People are going to try to push back against it. And
Oh, but heist cops. Is the heist the black lady on the cover? What are you talking about? And the cops, cops are good guys, right? So in this scenario, wait, aren't you doing the crime in this scenario?
think that the only thing that I have to remind people of that is to remember what we are fighting for, and that ultimately, if we are going to make art, we are always going to be pushing against a tide, right? And it is only interesting that we do so. And so I think the reality is that we cannot respond to all this abuse with silence and with fear, or it effectively works.
Is it abuse or is it critique? I mean, what said was extremely vague, like racist backlash, because anything can be perceived as racist. So I really want to know what was said that you're thinking about that is racist.
If you can disappear somebody because you don't like the way that they look and you don't think they should be here, and you can say, well, we're not going to allow black devs or devs to appear in front of the camera, all you're doing is creating a world in which the only people who are going to be shown are going to be like anyone who is not marginalized, right? And that is not a world that we can stand to create.
That's not necessarily true. Just because the devs aren't in front of the camera, quote unquote, that doesn't mean that it would just be a bunch of white people. See, isn't that what you were saying earlier about seeing yourself and shit? Like the representation isn't this, but it's being like positive and like whatever the fuck. Like, oh my god, you make my fucking brain hurt with how stupid. You make my brain feel like Harmon sometimes. Like back when we used to watch Harmon Smith. My fucking brain's starting to hurt listening to this bitch because this shit is making my head twist.
And so I think that it comes down, unfortunately, to having to acknowledge our humanity in this and to decide whether we are going to create art and creative project, or whether we are going to try to sell a tech product to people whose expectations will never be met by anything that we care about.
That we care about. That you care about. Because I guarantee you the majority of gamers don't give a shit about what the fuck you're talking about. I can promise you that. And that's the same thing I was saying. Progress is only within your own perspective. And that's your fucking problem. Or at least part of your problem. And also, all you can see is fucking race.
Right? We are always, if we are always going to ask how high when the worst people say jump, we will be caught in that forever. And so it does, I think it's very hard.
Yeah, so we shouldn't listen to you. So remember the whole thing you said about take your team to coffee and terrify them with the possibility of what could happen if you don't get what you want. So should we just ignore like what you're saying now, right? Make sure I'm hearing that right.
We are always, if we are always going to ask how high when the worst people say jump, we will be caught.
Yeah. So you're gonna take me out to coffee and terrify me, making me say jump. So I shouldn't get caught in that tide, right? I should just not fucking listen to you right now, right?
In that forever. And so
right,
it does, I
exactly.
think it's very hard, especially in this current moment, to stand up against anything, because God knows that, we get hundreds of emails all the time about how we have ruined games by making them woke. And I think that it is always tempting to say, okay, well, we'll just hide that thing that we do. We have to hide it. But
you tried, didn't you?
If everybody...
You tried. You tried to suppress the fucking Sweet Babe being detected. You tried to block all these motherfuckers. You tried to do this, that, and the third. You can't be trying to hide that shit.
You're gonna play in our faces. You have to play in theirs, right? And I think that
and you playing in the faces leads to these studios getting shut the fuck down. Everything you touch turns to shit.
It's important to now more than ever say what we believe and not treat
And I believe everything you touch turns to shit.
it like an opinion that can be changed by anger.
This opinion isn't even derived from anger. Everything you make turns to shit.
And that's kind of where I sit on it.
You know, crazy fact is that like Black Panther is like one of the top 5 selling movies of all time. That's crazy, right?
No.
It made a lot of money. A cast of all black characters.
No. That's not crazy. You wanna know why it's not fucking crazy? Not because a bunch of fucking niggas on camera. It's because it's a good fucking movie. It was a good movie first, and a movie for black people second.
I'm not saying there's a connection here, but like there's a market, right? So like
There's a
clearly
market
we're
for
doing
good
something
movies.
right.
That's what the
And
market
that's-
is.
should be in that conversation because there is literally no argument you can make that is not based on fear in that scenario.
All right. Our illustrious panel, we've come to the end. Please go through and give people their where they can find you and what on your social really quick, and announce that real quick, and then we'll do some housekeeping. So, starting my right to my left, where can they find you? I'm not going to get in touch with you.
The bar.
All right. So again, my name is Jabari Ali. You can find me on Instagram, Jabari Creates, Jabari, Jabari Creates. You can also reach me over email, jabari.ali.
I don't know why this man talking is so
gmail.com.
funny.
Ali has 2 I's, so Jabari, Jabari, Ali, ALII, @gmail.com.
I am Kim Belair, and I am on LinkedIn. Sadly, I'm also findable on Instagram. See if you can do it. Many people do.
I don't want to.
And I
think I have
can also,
before,
our
actually.
team can be reached at sweetbabyinc.com, or you can write to us at talk, TALK, at sweetbabyinc.com, whether you want to collaborate with us, whether you have questions for outreach, or whether you just want to know more.
I'm Carl Venardo. You can reach me on LinkedIn. Usually is your best methodology. I'm on Blue Sky, which is Carl V Media, I think is the name on Blue Sky. And don't use my Instagram because I never use it at all. You will be very disappointed in the returns for that. And cvenardo@gmail.com. C as in Carl, B as in Victor, ARNADO.
He's unironically funny. He just
Pamela
does funny
Delore, You
shit.
can find me on LinkedIn. I'm also on the board of directors of the XDev Fund, so you can email the XDev Fund if you have any.
I have not listened to Cooley High,
Or you can
no,
see me
but
after
I'll
here,
pull it
after
up.
talk.
Gerard De Jesus, I'm probably the easiest person on earth to Google because there's me and a basketball player who share my name.
You're not
and
funny,
obviously
though.
he has to go because
middle
there's
guy's
only
funny.
one. But it's JARORY.
That guy's not funny.
Just type that
Did you
into
forget to
Google.
how you spell
Pick
your
your
name?
poison. Don't follow me on Instagram. I don't use it. My last post was 5 years ago, man. Like it's not my platform. But Blue Sky, you can reach out to me. LinkedIn, happy to connect. Please message me why you're connected with me, because if I don't know you and we don't got mutuals, I'm not gonna accept it without a message. Just as a heads up.
All right. Thank you for coming to our panel. Please fill out your surveys. If you like the panel, to invite us back next year and give a round of applause to my wonderful my panelists.
No, I'm good, bro. Jesus Christ. I feel like with this whole shit going on a couple days ago, and now Xbox raising their fucking console to 600 bones. Listen, bro. This is kind of just says what I was saying before. This is a time to be patient. Time to control your temptations and control your money. Because it's going to be like this for a long time.